What's up guys, and welcome to a new video of me. So you've seen the 1 to 10 scale in the last video of mine, and now I'll be explaining at what looks level you can expect. I'm sure many guys have done this already. I've already seen the Google Docs or the Excel sheets of some guys. So I was like, I'll make my own for the European guys, since if we have to be honest, I don't think the American guys, with all respect, get it over here, but dating is still skewed in Europe, but you'll have some advantages. It depends on the country you're living in. You'll have some advantages if you're living in like a major city or in the countryside, or like something in between, a mix of both. And I'll break it down for you to 1 to 10 look scale with explanation in Europe. So the first rating we'll get is 1 to 2 out of 10. This is similar everywhere. You're gonna be treated bad in schools. I don't even think you're gonna be treated bad. I think you'll be completely ignored most of the time. People would already feel bad bullying you at this level. Yeah, and you will have a tough life, but I don't think I need to explain that. Don't even try getting to a job interview like this. I'm the only one that can say that because the other ones will never say that. Um, can get interviews on TV shows like this guy? Yes, in my country there were like a few interviews with deformed people like him. And it was like a genetic defect from birth. Yeah, unluckily, it's unfortunate for this guy, but luckily this is like 1 out of 50,000. I would argue it's like 1 out of 200K sometimes. Maybe even higher. So yeah, let's just move on to the next tier. 3 out of 10, unattractive. Yeah, these guys will not be deformed, but yeah, they will be very below average and unattractive. Think, I will have an example. You can have a guy who is like normal in the face, but his chin is extremely recessed and his jaw is extremely recessed as well. Or you could have like an overlong mid face. You could have bug eyes. In some cases, balding combined with being overweight. So over here we've got this guy. Yeah, it's it's just unfortunate. And this guy is not even European, but it was really hard to find European guys at this level, even though they are way more common than a deformed guy. I mean, he has no jaw definition, his nose is way too big. Uh, yeah, this is a very bad combination. I wouldn't say he has, yeah, it's hard to see. He has a long chin because he has some body fat, but I'm curious how he would look like when he gets lean. He would get lean, but he's in prison right now, so. This guy, yeah, he has a very squished face, and his nose is like way too high up there with his eyes compared to some other guys. A compact face is very good, but this guy's face is very, very squished. And this guy has way too thin lips. I've never seen a guy who has like thinner lips than him. There are better pictures of him. I know who he is, but yeah, not personally though. And yeah, extremely tough dating life. Yeah, you should be very lucky to find someone within the next 10 years. I'm just being honest. I'm not gonna be discouraging anyone, but you would need to start very early, start searching for someone. And I think, yeah, you'll need to have a lot of other things in your life to compensate, if you can compensate. But I would say things are gonna be less bad from being a 3 out of 5. It starts at 3 out of 5 out of 10, 3.5 out of 10, and yeah, you'll get a bit more common. You're not gonna fit in with the crowd, but you're a bit more common than the other straight up ugly guys. Yeah, I've noted this as well. Many guys I know at this level from the past, don't have anything like a degree or whatever. They don't have even have like a community college degree or whatever. I hope it's not tied to their IQ, but yeah, I do see many guys who are like extremely ugly or very ugly combined with a low IQ. This is just something to note. I don't see many people talking about that. And then we get to the fourth. This is a below average looking guy, ordinary unattractive. So at this tier, you're not always gonna be considered ugly. You're not gonna be seen as ugly most of the time. And I'm specifically talking about the 4 out of 10 guys. You're bordering at, you're like, you just escaped that sub 5 territory. So you're good, but you'll get ignored most of the time. So yeah, you're considered below average. When you're at the border of 4 out of 10, 4.1, 3.9, yeah, you can see some harsh treatment. But yeah, you can be ignored, and this is going to be very confusing. And you'll have to struggle massively, but it will not be extremely hard. So let's say it will be 15%, 20% max easier. Maximum. I'm not saying for every 4 out of 10. So this is going to be a guy like him. He's a YouTuber in my country. Or KSI. KSI is a more common guy. His only main flaw I would give right now is like his upper third. It's way too big, and that's why he covers it with a bit of bandana sometimes. Yeah, I would say the gap between a 4 and a 5 out of 10 is already big, but between a 4 and a 4.5 is also quite big. So try everything to in your power to get to a 4.5, because that's when you start to become ordinary. And yeah, don't even think about using dating apps at this level. Next is 5 out of 10. This is a guy who's completely average. I mean, I have my opinion about being a 5 out of 10. Like, if you would be living as a guy in your early 20s or as a teenager in 2015, this would be considered completely average. But I think there's like a slight shift that being a 5.5 out of 10 is like average right now. Because if you look at it, people are going to be considered below average sometimes. Like, you can see this guy is an average guy, but you can see his skin is not perfect. And yeah, his hair texture is okay-ish. I wouldn't say it's the best. And this can massively help when you're average to bump you up a little bit. And yeah, you can get matches on dating apps, but it will be very, very lackluster. You, we would be talking about like meeting 2 girls a year max on a dating app when you're like a 5 out of 10. Of course, you should rely on your social circle, but most of the guys watching this video, with all respect, are not going to be in big social circles because, yeah, otherwise you would not be watching my video and having many activities every day. Um, yeah, you could be a streamer or whatever at any range, but if you don't want to have a disadvantage streaming, don't be below a 5. So, now we get to the 5.5 out of 10. This is a guy who is slightly above average. If you were, for example, in 2020 or 2021 or a bit later in your early 20s or late teens, believe me, you would be slaying on dating apps. But now it is a bit skewed. You could still get results, but don't expect too much. So you don't have standout features. You'll be mostly relying on your skin, haircuts, eyebrows. So you'll have a bit of harmony, but I would not give anyone in this tier like harmony above 60%. So here we got Unagis, a Belgian YouTuber in his prime. He was a top 27% face, so it would be a 5.6-ish. Bryce Hall, I mean, I couldn't find many people who had the TikTok appeal who were like between a 5.5 and a 6, so I had to take an American guy in this video. He's a 5.7 to 5.75. Well, was, because he used look difference. This is his picture in his prime when he was like around 20, 21. Dylan Hagens, I mean, he is a top 27% face, and Ties Granzier, top 30%. He is like a plain 5.5. You'll have some success in your life. It will be better than average at this tier. I can guarantee you that. Do you know why? Because I would say I am a 5.6, 5.75 in that range. And I do notice better success than the average. But it will not be on easy mode, of course. You can try dating apps, and this is going to be the first year where you're going to try cold approach, because you'll feel more confident when the people do not see you as unattractive or below average, sometimes like the fives, but you will sometimes get mocked by 6.5s, 7s. I'm not sure if someone would replace you for a 6 when you're 5.5, but since you're not that far off. But that brings us to the next tier. This is a 6 out of 10. A well above average looking guy. So over here we've got guys who have like a standout feature, and healthy hair, and healthy skin. So this is gonna be someone who has like a great eye shape, defined jaw, sometimes a combination of both, but if you have a great eye shape and a defined jaw, you would usually be higher than a 6. But a bit of jaw definition can bring you to the 6.1, 6.2 range, just like this guy, famous YouTuber in my country. He has some jaw definition, but it is his eye shape and slightly positively canceled tilt that is bringing him up. So yeah, you're gonna get pretty good success, not just in dating, but also in on YouTube, in business, career, and such. But you should never forget that you also have to put in the effort. That brings you the maximum results. So yeah, the face will be attractive to, let's say, 66% of the people max. I wouldn't say attractive, but above average. And some people would be like, I have other preferences for a guy who looks a bit better or whatever. And yeah, you'll have positive treatment back in school. I mean, how many guys have a great eye shape? Not that many. So yeah, if you don't have an attractive eye shape, or like a mediocre eye shape, I would focus on your eyebrows. These will help you a lot to sometimes stand out or make you look slightly above average. And yeah, if you're working in a small department or whatever from a big company, you would be most attractive in like one office or something. So now we're going to the 6.5 out of 10. This is gonna be the first stage where things are gonna be way better, because now things are gonna be mostly about your looks. Yeah, you can spark a modeling career sometimes, not every time. depending on where you live. For example, for CNA in Europe, H&M, or Zara, you can be the best guy in your class sometimes, not every time. I've been back in high school. I used to be in a class with around 20 people, and we had a chadlite in our class. And you would not expect it with such a low amount of people, so don't expect to be the best looking guy every time as a 6.5, because you're still like a mid-high tier normie. So you'll not just have a great eye shape, but also um, better harmony, which is of course part of the eye shape is of course part of the harmony. You'll also have like a better defined jaw. So for example, you have this guy Dylan Pace. If he didn't have such a long mid face, he would be considered a Chad Light. It's negligible with the nose. I mean, I could still see him as a Chad Light if his face was more compact, but it is unfortunate, man. He could be like 0.5 higher if he didn't have a long mid face. Um, Looks are definitely an advantage over here. And yeah, you see this guy Quabblecop, he is, most of the guys my age or slightly younger know him from his videos. He's a 6.75. The only thing that holds him back is like, yeah, his eyelid exposure, upper and sometimes lower eyelid exposure, and he has a bit of moles in his face. Otherwise he would be a 7, but he kind of niched down himself with the curly hair. And yeah, you can get results on dating apps on this tier. You can meet girls, but it can sometimes be lackluster. You can get flaked on. I know like 1 or 2 friends at this tier, and I do hear some stories about the dating life of them. Okay, this brings us to the 7 out of 10 category. You're definitely gonna stand out from the crowd. The competition is low, not very low, since you're like a top 2.5% face. You never see a guy at 7 out of 10 who just has angularity and masculinity. So, for example, you should always have a harmony. You cannot have like super high whites, like a super high distance between your eyes and your eyebrows, or a long chin, or whatever. These things will deharmonize you, and you will not be a 7 with those features. So yeah, you do stand out from the crowd. You'll get loads and loads and loads of choosing signals. You'll get modeling careers on Instagram, modeling agencies as well. Yeah, you get more actors than models in this tier. I mean, it is not, you're not like a guy with a square jaw at this tier most of the time. And yeah, you'll get indirect compliments, direct compliments, which will give you that confidence to get the guts to try more. So, dating will not be lackluster. I mean, you're basically a full package for average girls who are like 5 out of 10, maybe low 6 out of 10, maybe 6.5 out of 10 if you're lucky. But yeah, you'll definitely get a roster of girls at this level. For example, this guy used to date Booth072. He used to date like a guy. No, I mean a girl. Sorry. He used to date a girl who was a 6.75 out of 10. And that's pretty close to his range, but that's also because he got status, because he's a famous rapper over here. Well, was a famous rapper. His tracks right now are not um, that relevant. He used to be famous in 2016 to 2022 or something. Lucas Bergval, the footballer, I would put him at very low 7 out of 10 because he had a slight asymmetry, not even slight asymmetry, but his bone structure is carrying him. So yeah, you'll have minor flaws like 1 or 2. You'll have some 9 to 5 workers at this range, and some are actors, models, rappers. It depends on your effort, man. Effort is still like a big go-to at this level. Yeah, you're gonna be the most attractive in a district or small town. And what do I mean by a small town? Let's say your town has 50k people up to 200k, 150k max. You're gonna be the most attractive guy in some cases, not every case. So we're getting to the next tier, the 7.5. So this is gonna be a guy who is gonna be considered as a high chadlite in the BP community, but to the normies, you're gonna be considered as a chad. I mean, the jawline has to be sharper at this point than a plain 7 out of 10. Harmony could still be sometimes the same amount of harmony as a 7, but angularity and masculinity come into play. Look at this guy, Robert Pattinson. Robert Pattinson is a British actor. He has like thick eyebrows, eye shape, and yeah, I would include like healthy skin and hair, but you guys already know that. And his jawline is pretty sharp. Then we got Harry Roselmack. It's a French TV celebrity. He's a bit older. He's in his 40s or 50s right now, but he's still carrying up to a 7.5 with his looks level, with his bone structure to his looks level. Jude Bellingham, of course, he's like the highest 7 on his scale, and Cristiano Ronaldo playing 7.5. Harmony will definitely help you if you have higher harmony than a 7, but you could still get here through Looksmaxing if it's possible for you, if you have the base for it, to get to a 7.5, if you have the bone structure for it. Yeah, what can I say? If a 7 out of 10 doesn't struggle on dating apps, imagine the dating life of a 7.5 out of 10. You could be the most attractive guy in a municipality, so a city or small town with surrounding cities and villages, or a district if you live like in New York or whatever, or another big city with other moggers. Yeah, not much to say, man. I mean, you're already gonna get modeling contracts at a 7, so at a 7.5 it's only gonna be better and better. And one major flaw is acceptable, so if you have dark circles, it should stop over there. If you have sparse brows, it should stop over there. You cannot have a second flaw, otherwise you'll be a 7. And we get to the 8. This is David Ulvink. He's a model for my country. Illy Peely, TikTok streamer for my country as well. Ashley, a Dutch model. And Elias de Poot, he is from Belgium. The eye area is flawless in 95% of the cases. There are some guys who have very good harmony, but their eye area is not all that. I'll come up with some examples later outside of this video. Square jaws are common. I mean, masculinity is a big thing in being an 8 out of 10. There are guys who can get away with like not that much of a square jaw like this guy Ashley, but look at his harmony, man. It's top tier. Yeah, dating apps are like food delivery. You you're like the top of the food chain in half of your country or some provinces. You're not even that local guy anymore. People would be traveling hours to see you. And yeah, your life is pretty much on easy mode, man. Then we get to the 9s. I would actually include Elias the Boot as a 9 as well, but his contrast and his masculinity kind of prevents him from doing that. His angularity is very good though, and his eye area. But yeah, let's start with the plain 9 out of 10s. We've got Tom Stride. He is a Dutch model, and I wouldn't say if I'm not sure if he's like a model for an agency or an Instagram model, but he is a kickboxer. That's what I know. And yeah, his social media following is mainly due to his looks and not so much because of his boxing career. And Safir, famous from TikTok. I mean, if you watch the videos where he looks at other girls in Paris, yeah, this guy gets a ton of shooting signals. I mean, you should see his videos, man. It's he's called Safir on TikTok. Put it in the search bar, and yeah, it's crazy. It's really crazy how he is like almost the top of the food chain in his own city with 3 million people. And then we get Henry Cavill from the UK and Osama Gassoum. I'm not sure if everybody in the VP skills knows him, but this is a French Algerian guy who lives in France. And this guy has great harmony, but his angularity, man, pushes him to that 9.1 tier. Yeah, and if you're over here, people want to be friends with you, people want everything with you, from a female standpoint, of course. And yeah, this is gonna be like the most attractive guys known to anyone. Yeah, you can include Matt Bomer in this list because he's the most attractive guy in the world, but we're talking about Europe specifically, so that's why I came up with those 4 guys. It's a lengthy video, sorry for that, but I wanted to go into full details. And a small disclaimer because people are a bit confused about this. Once you're a 7 out of 10, you don't have to date down that much. So, for example, if you're a 7 out of 10, you could date with girls who are like sometimes 7s or 6.5s, maybe 6s. You can get a lot of 5s, but yeah, it's not recommended. And if you're a 6 out of 10, you could get 5.5s, 5s, not so much 6s. And if you're like a 5 out of 10 normal guy, yeah, you can get your looks match. And please don't date below average as a 5 out of 10. And once you're above a 7 out of 10, everything gets easier. Alright, thank you for watching and have a great day. See you in the next one.